The 2022 International HillClimb Cup, virtual Hauenstein Bergrennen, is presented in partnership with Viper Gaming by Patriot, A-Stick Sim Sport, ESTV, and Motorvision.tv.
A 1v2 for the tournament. Pressure is on.
Racing for Green is here to help you carbon neutralize your racing. By planting new trees, Racing for Green offers to make your racing carbon neutral. We already have the calculations, contacts, infrastructure, deals and solutions ready for you to easily buy carbon neutral laps on any racetrack. It doesn't matter if you are a racing fan, team owner, driver, sponsor or partner. Anyone can buy CO2 neutral laps in the Racing for Green webshop and trade CO2 emissions for New Forest. Racing for Green.
In the German classic of Hauenstein Bergrennen. My name is Chris Buxton and I'll be your commentator throughout this evening's festivities. And having watched the cars hit the circuit for qualifying, we have an incredible lineup of machineries and drivers ready to do battle for our first visit to Germany in this series. We've been to Austria and we've been to Italy thus far. We will return to Austria next time and Germany thereafter. But right now we have got this twisty and technical circuit to deal with. So we can head to qualifying at the moment to see who is where. Hopefully so. Although let's have a quick look at the championship standings. Current points lead being very well governed by Andreas Paula Bauer and Oliver Toth for the AMP team, and there you can see it for yourself. 236 points for the GSR team. Antonius, and I've been struggling to wrap my head around this one, Paparinopoulos, hopefully I've got that correctly, and apologies if I haven't, and Veladis Corrales, also right with him there. Very closely followed by the JY Canary Island squad of Yavi Rodriguez and Yarov Hernandez. So As you can see, round number 3 then is the halfway stage in this series. 4th is the RH Canary Island pair of Achen and Vargas. Let's try again. Achen Vargas and Ruben Vieira. And Saurus Racing with Nicolas S. F. Statu. Again, hopefully getting that correct. And Andres Roosevelt. So, quite a number of teams involved in this series. As you can see, a lot of cars, a lot of drivers, always approaching new people, attracting new people as well. You can see at the bottom there, you can see the wide and varied range of cars that are available to our drivers, split into relevant categories dependent on the type of car and the engine size that they carry. So, we've got Sellers, Normas, Tartuses, Delaras, and then you've got the more touring car types, the BMW 30s, Escorts, Mark IIs, which I confess I am a bit of a fan of, and I make no secret of that. I'm a bit of a fan of an Escort Mark II. Opals, very much looking forward to that. And then you got some more of the modern machinery, Lancers, WRC Escorts, an Audi Quattro, yes, the gloriously gorgeous Audi Quattro I spotted in the lineup as well. There's a couple of Imprezas we've seen in that category. Then further down, Opel Cadets, GTEs, yep, you're kind of harking back to my childhood there. Fiat X19s, BMW 2002. I'm not quite that old, but I feel old enough. I was kind of around in 1858 before the motor car even existed. Alpine A110 also in that category. And at the bottom of the list is Corrado, Honda Type R's. Again, cars that we're familiar with on the road. Renault Clio's, Peugeot 306s. Absolutely awesome to see. Very much look forward to seeing what we have lined up. Of course, we won't see all of them, but we will see a very big selection of them. Really, really looking forward to that. Okay, so let's see who is out there, shall we? What action can we see at the moment? That's someone reversing. That's generally not what you want to see. Not sure who that is that's reversing back to the spot. Maybe they got released slightly earlier than they would have liked. But we'll see some action getting underway here very, very shortly. So this is one of the shorter hill climbs that you'll see in this type of series. Some of them can be astronomically long. This one is 4.2 kilometers in length. Here's Pedro Barbosa. So I was waiting for the pace car to get underway. That's the Sierra that's got its lights blinking away there in the foreground of the shot. You can see right in the middle, the 122 car is that Escort, the WRC spec Escort, and the 190, I think there's a Fiesta in the background. You've got a VW, I think that's one of the Corrados that's just backing out of the shot. No, we've seen you on camera. No good getting camera showing us now and backing away slowly. It's like the person that's accidentally photobombed a picture. They sort of creep away very slowly. Tough, we caught you. BMW in the front of the shot. And then you've got one of the, I think it might be the Tarsus that's the single-seater creation that looks a bit like a Radical. That really does show the kind of diversity of vehicle that you can expect in these hill climb events. You can see they come screaming towards... now they come from the left hand of the shot and then sweep through that left-hander, heavy on the brakes and not wanting to introduce themselves to the tyres as they sweep through. And then you see they just go over the rise and there we go. So we've got a great, essentially a drone camera shot here of sweeping through towards... That's the we're heading back to the beginning of the circuit here. As we're seeing cars heading back to the holding area. Nice car parked there on the grass, but that's a pace car more than anything else. Oh, that's someone showing off, look. I haven't got a tent, so I'm going to park it right here, he says. Look at that VW Corrado, the bright orange machine there, and you've got a Honda. A Fiat, another Honda there. Oh, look at that. Again, beautiful liveries. The Martini livery on the Lancia. That's an absolutely fantastic looker as well. WRC Escort. That's one of the Lancers. I mean, if anyone that knows anything about the rally machine will recognize a number of these. And then look at the number 73 machine. Absolutely stunning. Oh, I could just gush over these cars all day long. That livery, however, we need words about that. I'm not so keen on that one. We're not so keen on that, if I'm entirely honest. There I am, bigging up the liveries, and then this brake paint thing just wanders in front of us. There we go, there's one of the escorts. Love the reason why I love escorts is because I grew up, my older brother had a Matsu escort when we were growing up. That's why I'm very, very keen on them. And then you get these wonderful, the number 14 machine we see here. Yeah, it's such an unusual looking car compared to the rest. BMW at the end of the line there, and then you can see them stretching off into the distance. The types of cars you can see, and there you go. There's another one of these single-seater type cars. There's another Corrado. There's the Quattro in its traditional white and yellow skin. Oh, I'm very much looking forward to seeing that go up the hill. And again, in case you couldn't tell, that's a Peugeot. Zeto on the nose. And then you get a single-seater. How awesome is that? I love it. Absolutely love it. Single-seaters do hill climbs as well, believe it or not. Oh, there's an Opel Kadett. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Another Honda. I think that's another one of the. I think that's a Norma. I think that's what they're referred to as. There's another WRC spec Escort. There's another Opel. Fabulous stuff. Some people have bigger tents than others. Obviously, they paid a bigger entrance fee when they joined the series. So then we will get the first runs underway very, very soon once the session has timed down to the start. As we fly through the flag, so we can actually get a kind of a bird's eye view on how this section's, how we start the I say lap, but it's how this run starts. So of course, it's being a hill climb, you're going uphill. So you're screaming up towards the first braking zone, heavy on the brakes, and then sweeping through it. I love the fact that the drone is trying to take a racing line, but it can't turn very well, unfortunately. And then you sweep through and continue this quite fast section. Like I said earlier, this has got a fast hill climb circuit. It's not there are more tight and twisty circuits in the entire season, and we're still absolutely flat out here, but look how narrow that is. If you start to wander anyway, you've got very little time to correct it. I mean, some of these cars will be hitting close to 200 kilometers an hour in this circuit alone. Still screaming along, heading towards the Lange Gerade. That is the section coming up here, so hopefully the people have timed it right. Even if they wander too wide, you think, they've got miles of grass, but look at you can see there's a ditch lining that left-hand side of the circuit. Now, into the left-hand side, and a barrier awaits them if they get that completely wrong, and a tyre stack just to make sure that they end their run very swiftly if that goes wrong at that section. Left-hander again, and it's trees that is going to be the run ender if they wander a bit too wide. And then starting to just come over the crest again as the drone tries to avoid some of the trees and upset some of the nesting animals. Coming down. Lovely drone piloting going on here. So again, we're still absolutely flat out there. Now we're going to start to just tap the brakes, start to scrub off a bit of speed, coming through this ever-tightening right-hander. It's very deceptive to start with because it looks like a fast right-hander, but it just gets tighter and tighter and tighter, and then you end up into this S-curve section here, lined with trees and barriers. So got to get this right. You can't just bounce over the grass because bounce is exactly what you will do. So through that S-curve section, and now a bit more of a flat-out section, screaming towards the tight right-hander that we will see very, very shortly as we just come through this little left-hand kink here as the drone nearly catapults itself into a tree. And then you're going to have... So just coming up here is where you're going to have to pick a braking zone. And bear in mind, there's no kind of really obvious landmarks. There's no braking boards. There's no distance markers or anything like that. And then you've got this short straight here as the drone gains out. So you'll see, there it is, that square chicane. Now, the entranceways, the entrance and exit to that chicane are unbelievably narrow when you're flying towards it at breakneck speeds. Then you had the Zeil curve. Again, I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that correctly. Our German correspondent, Anish Goldschmidt, will probably shout at me for my attempt at his native language. And then it is a simple couple of turns towards the finish line. That is what 4.2 kilometers of the Hauenstein Bergrennen HillClimb circuit looks like. And as you saw when we had a look at the holding area, we've got some fabulous machinery ready to do battle on this very circuit. So I really cannot wait. And Zeil means end or finish. So hence, well, there you go. There was someone that just shot through. I completely missed who that was. I'm afraid they went through too quickly for me to spot who that was. That's just gone through. As we jump back to the briefly back to the glorious WRC Escort. the ever enthusiastic marshal there, the only enthusiastic person in that pack, it seems. He's determined to wave someone on. Oh, here we go. Leo Huart. Now that's coming up to that squash again. Look how carefully he's got to really slow that car down, and it's very much threading the eye of a needle when you're coming up to that section. And those cars, because they're so low slung, are bouncing around all the curbs. But he's in the F2 3000 category and screams towards the line to set his time. And currently sits second in that category, as you can see on the screen there. Very nicely done. Who is approaching next? Yeah, I'm still not sold on that pink livery, I'm afraid. That's going to horn me a little bit. Oh, look at Sebastian Renart's car. It's Philipp Gärtner that is now having a go at the circuit. So that's the first turn that we've just gone through. Screaming. There you go. You can see how the bumps just bounce the car around. Oh, wow. You saw he caught a little bit of the dust on his left-hand side. That just unsettled the car. It's so low slung. And that's not the way you do it. That's gone off into the growth. That would be a very painful and expensive way of ending the run, but of course in sim racing no one has to pick up the bill for that. So Philipp Gärtner has ended his run rather spectacularly, and so no one else has come up to the plate as yet to give us another run. They're all rather stunned by Philipp Gärtner's rather dramatic exit. He's from the junior racing team in 8th position in the championship at the moment. He's partnered with Philip Raab, currently on 48 points, as mentioned, 8th in the championship at this point in time. And we'll get back to the action as quickly as we can. So just being informed, there may well have been a bit of a problem server side, so we'll get that running as quickly as we can for you. So apologies for that, but we will get back on course as quickly as we can. We can have a look at who's done well leading up to this point in various categories. Now, we mentioned that the A&P team of Andreas Pollabauer and Oliver Toth have done rather well so far. Now, they are in the Group H special category in the Opel Kadett GTEs. Now, it's Andreas Pollabauer that's scored maximum 50 points thus far with his stablemate Oliver Toth. Where is he? Let's just have a look in the list. Can I find him? He is so Andreas Pollabauer leads that particular category, as on 50 points. Oh, excuse me. As I beg your pardon. So Oliver Toth is actually in the Corrado in the E1 2000 category. So he's in the Corrado R. He's got 25 and 18. So 50. Oh, okay. So just being informed that there has been a bit of a problem where our server host is actually sat. So we'll bring you a bit more on that when we get some more news on that. So as I say, we'll hopefully get the broadcast up and running properly with some racing action rather than me waffling on, because no one wants to listen to that for several hours. As mentioned, so Andres Palabauer doing rather well in the Group H Special class. Let's go through our class leaders indeed. So there's two categories in. Okay, so just being informed that the standings are going to be brought up. That'll help me explain who's doing rather well in which classes and what have you. So there's two categories, Category 1 and Category 2. So the Category 2s involve your sort of more classic machinery. And the Class 1s are kind of, your quicker stuff. So there we go. So now, as you can see on the stream there, so we're now looking at the Category 2s that are listed at the top of this particular list. So let's look at the E2 SC SS3000s, which primarily is the Norma M, if I can say this correctly, Norma M20 FC Zytek cars, except for our class leader, which is Sébastien Renat, the Frenchman in the Ocella FA30. I believe that's the single-seater that we saw, or one of the single-seaters that we saw in the list. 2 wins so far, 2 maximum points of 25 points thus far at Austria and Italy, or the first visit to Austria, I should say, for Sébastien Renat. Again, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, with Lier Huart, as we did see try and make a run before we encountered some difficulty. It's claiming 18 twice, and Mark Bess, the Canadian, was looking set, I believe, to set a run before we lost connection to the server, and then so 2 15 points for him. And Philippe Gardner, who we saw vanish off the track rather dramatically, not scoring any points last time out in Italy. And we haven't seen Francois Carati or Patrick Fossé in their respective cars as yet. So the next category down is the E2 SS2000 category. So again, different type of, different build of car, slightly less powerful, but hence why a different class. So the Tartus Master, the Delara F312 are the two cars that have been represented in that class, currently led by Andres Roosevelt. 225 points. Where do we find Mr. Roosevelt? Just trying to find which team he is in. He's in the Saurus Racing Squad. They're in 5th position at the moment, is Andreas Roosevelt from Hungary. And Igos Andre claiming 2 18s. And then Pedro Barbosa, who we did see in the lineup briefly. Chris Bennett, didn't see him in the first round. He claimed a 3rd last time out. And then the final class of the set of the Category 2s has these wonderful BMW E30s, Ford Escort Mark IIs. We have had a Mercedes 190, amazingly. I say amazingly, those were very good in touring cars, but not particularly known for rallying or hill climbing. But that's not stopped John Spider from Greece doing rather well in that one. And also an Opel GTE Psycho. Anyone that's brave enough to put Psycho on the end of their car name deserves some respect as far as I'm concerned. But that's being led by Javi Rodriguez in the BMW, along with Veladis Corrales. What a great name that is. So the Spaniard and the Greece driver, also then leading Nikos can't say this, Zaknius. I'm going to go with that. Also for Greece, along with John Spider. Now, slightly further down are our Category 1s. So, in the E1 plus 2000 class, that's your real monsters of the rallying scene. So, being led by Tobias Beersdorf. So this will be a home race for him. He's the one with the full rack of points so far, with 50 on the board in that class. In the Lancer Evo 9. And then it's 2 escorts in the form of Antonius Paparinopoulos. No, I got it right first time, and I knew I wouldn't get it right again. Paparinopoulos. There we go. Needed another go at that one. The Greek driver, and then Pedro Alvarez from Spain in the next escort, but I'm still keeping an eye on Jorge Hernandez, the next Spanish driver in that gorgeous Audi Quattro. Yeah, I make no apologies for being an absolute fan of that. And again, anyone that is a fan of classic rallying, that is such a gorgeous car. It was such a absolute beast in its day. So very much looking forward to seeing how they do in this category. So primarily it's Lancer Evo and Ford Escort in this particular class so far. Now we do have a couple of Imprezas, but we haven't seen the Imprezas take part yet, from Gerhard Alsen and also Jorge Gavales. So they haven't taken their Imprezas. Lancia Delta Evo 2. There's a blast from the past as well from Franck Dupere, the Frenchman, in the 275 car. So that should be fun if we get to see that one. Next one down is the Group 8 Special, as I was mentioning earlier. And is Andreas Pollabauer that leads that one, the Austrian. And now, I think it's fair to say that the Opel Kadett is quite a favoured car in that particular group. The top four all sporting the Opel Monster. Then it's the Fiat X19 in the hands of three drivers taking the ones. Bigger one. So Andreas Pollabauer, Philippe Raab, so the two Austrians leading the way. Then Julian Galpassaro, say that correctly, from Spain. And then Midko Oristov, rounding out the four Opels at the top of that particular group. And then Bruno, I would say that's probably Guides from Portugal, Hector Rodriguez from Spain, and Louis Lacroix. That would be Louis Lacroix from France. Another couple of Opels, and you have to go quite some way before you break that particular sequence with the BMW 2002 TII in the hands of Jürgen Dies. That's quite an old beast, which can still do well. Well, speaking of old beasts, you want to look at the Ford Escort RS Mark 1 in the hands of Damos Salonika in the 15th spot. There's a glorious car. Alfa Romeo, so even Alfa is represented in the form of Denis Artzenidis from Greece. Very nicely done. A couple of Simcas in that squad as well. A Porsche 964. You want to talk about a man handling a beast, and that's a brave choice. And also an Alpine A110, which you haven't seen as yet, from Bernard Alandis. And the final category we'll talk about is the E1 2000 class. At the bottom of the list, but certainly not in performance. Now that's where we see Oliver Toth in his Corrado R. We mentioned him already in the AMP team, currently at the top of the championship at the moment. Then Atkin Vargas, so we did see briefly in the Honda Type R touring car. Jürgen Strassiger, I think it would be pronounced. Again, another Austrian in the list. Currently sits in third in that class. Michael Poancel from France in the Renault Clio. And then Roman Vieira from Spain. Again, another Honda Type R. A couple of Peugeots in the list as well, from Adan Piamenta and David Parisot, from Spain and from France respectively. Fiat Punto, again, not a common sight to see those in rallying terms or in hill climb circles, but that is Adrian Varila's choice from Spain. Another Corrado there in the form of Ina Garcia. And then it is more of what we've already seen. It's plenty of drivers, 19 drivers in that particular class. I think the biggest class has got 22 in it, which is the Group 8 Special that we've talked about already. So hopefully we'll get some action going. We're just waiting a further update on what is happening server side at the moment, so we can see who is going to take well to this German circuit. Basically everything went, so it's not just the server went down. So okay, so it was a monstrous power cut in the entire neighborhood, basically, of where the server is located. So it's not a case of someone forgot to put some money in the meter. It's not a case of someone didn't feed the hamster, and he has certainly paid his electric bill. It is a case of a monstrous power cut, which isn't something we can overcome quickly. So it would, of course, happen when we're trying to get this wonderful race with some great machinery and great drivers underway. But we'll give it a bit more time to see if they're able to come up. Can we get our commercials going, I wonder? Yeah, rather than me waffling on trying to find something else to say whilst hopefully the power returns, let's run some commercials at this point.
The 2022 International HillClimb Cup Virtual Hauenstein Bergrennen is presented in partnership with Viper Gaming by Patriot, A-Stick Sim Sport, ESTV, and Motorvision.tv.
Racing for Green is here to help you carbon neutralize your racing. By planting new trees, Racing for Green offers to make your racing carbon neutral. We already have the calculations, contacts, infrastructure, deals and solutions ready for you to easily buy carbon neutral laps on any racetrack. It doesn't matter if you are a racing fan, team owner, driver, sponsor or partner. Anyone can buy CO2 neutral laps in the Racing for Green webshop and trade CO2 emissions for New Forest. Racing for Green.
A 1v2 for the tournament. Pressure is on. We have a server, we have some scenery to look at, and some glorious cars to look at once again. So we are getting everybody back into where they should be, and they will be running to a qualifying order. We're just waiting for our drivers to return. We can see the magnificent machinery we currently have. Who have we got currently in the server with us? I'm not sure we can actually focus in on a driver because it will do it from the trackside camera. They're very small tents. You wouldn't get much crew and toolboxes in those. You could try, mind you. So we're trying as we may, as you can see, to get everybody back in There's quite a lot of people. There's a good 50 cars that were looking to take part in tonight's race. So do bear with us whilst we get everybody back. You can see that the garages, the tents, are slowly filling up. There's that Mark when I got the number 42 at the bottom of the shot. That's a good looking beast. That's actually Damos Salanika's car, the Mark 1 Escort. Let's have a look at who we can see in the shot. There's the 106. Now, that is... You have to forgive me, I'm not entirely used to who's in what number, so I'll have to try and find it. It doesn't help when they blink like that, unfortunately. Who is 106? Let me try and find that. 106, who are you? That is Andres Valle in his Lancer. That is who that is. I can see number 65. Slightly, the red, white, and blue car right in the middle. That looks to me to be a BMW. Who is it? Number 65. Looking down my list. That. I can't find them. So this is going well for me, isn't it? Who is number 65? Bear with me whilst I try and figure out who that is. There it is. It's a Marcus Blasel. It's not a BMW. It's an Opel Kadett. I do beg your pardon. The Austrian in the Group 8 Special Class, 8th in that particular category, looking to, of course, improve on his standings. You can see more and more cars popping up. Who else can we identify? There's number 88 on the left-hand side. Let's work out who that is. Let me see. Who is number 88? I wonder if that's a Lancia. No, it's an Alpha. That is Dennis Lopez from Portugal. Also in the Group 8 Special Class. It kind of reminds me a bit of a Lancia, that kind of side profile, but that's now from Air 75 under his particular tent. Oh, there's number 145 that's just appeared. That's second in the Group 8 Specials. That's Philippe Rav from Austria, also in Opel Kadett. Oh, 215, here we go. More cars appearing. 215 has just popped up. Looks like a Clio of some description. No, that's a Fiat Punto, beg your pardon. That 215 is Adrian Varela from Spain. 9th position with 6 points being scored last time out in Italy. Can't spot the car number on the side of the monstered livery car. We see on the front, the left-hand side, 136 has just popped up into view. Oh, lots of cars are popping up into view now, as you can see. We're going to enjoy some great runs from all of these machineries now. This is what we're looking forward to. Again, we do apologise for the issues we've had so far, but we do kind of rely on power in the sim racing world. And if that disappears from a particular area, there's only so much pedaling that we can generate from. There's only so much energy that pedal power can come up with. So we do have to circumvent these problems as best we can. Who can we look at? 136. Let's have a look at you. I wish this guy would stop blinking. It's difficult to read the number. 136. Who are you? Let me see if I can find you. I do apologise for, like I say, not knowing the numbers off the top of my head, but there are a lot of people involved. As we saw earlier in the broadcast, going through the current championship numbers, there's a lot of people. So 136, who are you? Let me see if I can find where car number 136 is in the list. I can't find where number 136 is, unfortunately. It is eluding me at the moment. Why can't I find you? Well, 137? That's not very helpful when trying to identify who that is. Who are you? Number 136. We'll identify them as time goes on. Find 138, and I'm going further away from the number. I can't actually find who 136 is. It could be a new entrant for this particular round, and it hasn't been put on the list previously. It could be why I can't find them at the moment. So that'll be why I can't find them. Who else can we give a particular mention to? Ah, that's why I wasn't going mad. Just confirmed there isn't a 136 in the standings, so that is a new entrant for this series. I'm not blind. I'm not going mad yet. I'm working on it, however. It's a very important part of sim racing commentary, I absolutely promise you. Sanity is overrated. 106, did we mention 106? I think we did. Yes, that's Andreas Felle in his Lancer. We did mention you. But I can't identify any other car numbers. It's a 13 we can see next to the 88 car, but I think that's part of a number rather than car number 13. Let's see if we can find a 13 in the list. I can find a 12. Of course I can. I can find a 213. And I can't quite see enough of the car to identify whether that is Julien Delarge's Fiat X19. I've got a feeling that's part of a number, as I said. I don't think it is. Oh, it could be car number 13, actually. It could be an Escort. If so, that is Brenton Henderson from us. Oh, I do confess I can't remember the difference between Australia and New Zealand's flags. If it is you, it's an Escort Mark II, but I'm not convinced that's a Mark II Escort, judging by the nose. So it could be the Fiat X19 of Julien Delarge. Or it's Ina Garcia's Corrado R. As I can't really tell. I wonder if that's the VW. Either way. So, we're just waiting for everybody to get in now. Car number 48. I don't think we've mentioned number 48, have we? It's another person that's blinked into existence on the left-hand side there. Number 40. Oh, never mind. We've changed it anyway. Oh, there's that Audi Quattro. Look at it. Again, I make no apologies for admiring that gorgeous beast. The number 140 car. I very much look forward to that particular monster climbing up the hill. Well, they were awesome in their day. They really were absolutely rally dominators of their era. And 153 looks quite nice, doesn't it? Let's see who that is. 153, who are you? Looking through the list, that is Tobias Berstorff, leader of the E1 Plus 2000 class from the Category 1s. That's the Lancer Evo 9. Who's piloting that 140? Have a look. Who is driving the number 140 car? I'm struggling to find you again. I thought I found this earlier because there's not many of those Audi Quattros in the list. Oh, come on, ISO, don't fail me now. There is an Audi Quattro, but it's number 82, and that... Yeah, 140 car. Oh, there's another lovely shot of the field, just all waiting to get underway. 146 car we see in the bottom left corner of the screen. Who is that? Let's give you a mention. 146. Again, I can find every number around the one I'm looking for. I found 145, which is Philip Raab's Opel Kadett. I'm doing amazing at this number hunting business. 146, there we go. It's Ruben Quiles. That's his Fiat Punto HC from Spain. Joined us last time in Italy. Unfortunately, didn't score any points on that occasion. But is looking to get off the mark here in Germany. 137. Who are you? Let's see now. I'm just thinking, was that the car I was trying to decipher? I think that was the one I was thinking was part of a number, but I thought it was the end of the number rather than the beginning. Maybe 137 was the one I was trying to figure out who was. Now that looks like a Lancer. Well, that looks very much like a Lancer. If that is the case, 137. It is indeed a Lancer. It's David Aguiron, I'm going to say, from Spain. Not going completely mad, like I say, not just yet, but still working on it. And just look at the field. Absolutely glorious cars, glorious colours, except the pink one. I'm sure they're going to do very well in the pink Civic, but I can't say I'm a fan of the colour. Waiting for the last few to join us, and then we'll get this session underway. As the camera goes for a wander, no cars over there. Who are we going to have a look at? Pick a car, drone. Who's it going to find? That's one of the Civics. It's car number 17. Oh, we're going to get a lovely sky. Oh, look at the martini livery on the Fiat. That's gorgeous. Lovely. There's one of the Hondas. And one of the Opel Cadets. Oh, look at that. There's one of the Lancias. BMW. Another Opel. I won't be able to identify all of them. There's that martini livery again. Oh, stunning. That's one of the Evos. One of the Opels. As a single-seater. It's almost like spot the odd one out. Ah, there's one of the Audis. Oh, and the pace car's decided, hang on, the pace car doesn't need a tent. He's stealing the spot of a competitor. Surely the pace car's got its own little home. Get out of the tent, you. I mean, sure enough, the Sierra Cosworth would do very well on a hill climb. Sure thing. I mean, again, those cars are very much hark back to my childhood. The Sierra Cosworths. As do the Escort Cosworths, in fairness. There's that 65 car. We mentioned him earlier on. Oh, of course the cameraman would find the one car I have criticised the look of and put it big straight in the middle. Well, thank you, drone pilot. That is car number 196. Who is that? Who is responsible for putting that one there? Let's have a quick look. 196 is Jürgen Strasiger. That is who that is in the E1 2000 category, and everyone's vanished. Oh, they're back again. There it is. That's Jürgen Strasiger's car. Well, I mean, you'll spot him. There's no mistaking him for anybody else in that very bright colour scheme. We come back to this particular shot. Again, you get an idea of just the eclectic mixture of the cars on display here, ready to do battle here in Germany. Hopefully we're not too much further away now from seeing the first runs post-restart. Again, we can only apologise for the technical difficulties that have plagued us up to this point. But like I say, there's a large number of competitors, as you've clearly seen, having a look at all the cars that we're dealing with in this event. And sadly, the power did not want to play ball for a crucial moment. Oh, there goes the pace car. Maybe he listened to me when I told him to get out of the tent. It's not so much a pace, it's a course car, so beg your pardon. I'm so used to calling them pace cars. It's not like you lead all of them off on a parade lap or anything. There we go. We're going to follow the Sierra. Maybe the Sierra's going to do a run up the hill. It wouldn't do too badly either. Oh no, he's decided to run back again. No, he's getting out of the way. He's making sure that he's not going to obstruct anybody coming through to actually do their run. Wide angle shots, including the Portaloos in the bottom right hand corner of the screen. All for authenticity, you see. Who is going to come up first? That's also a golden question. Who is going to come up first? Now, they will be released in qualifying order. So we'll see who qualified first. Now, they'll be released in fastest car order. In previous in other hill climbs event, sometimes run the slower cars first. But in this event, we are running the faster car first. Oh, that's one. Is that the Tartus, or who is that is joining us now? That is car number 14. Yes, Sebastian Ronat, that's the Acela FA30, and screaming away. We've got our first run of the night underway. Excellent stuff up to the first turn. Guess I wouldn't just see how the nose digs in. And a lot of wheel spin on the exit. Very nicely done. That car looks so wide compared to the size of the road, but he's not shy of it either. And that's why the Frenchman is at the top of the category. This is the E2 SCSS category. And as the Acela, the kind of odd one out, because the rest of the class is in the Norma car. On he goes and continuing to do the climb, and there we go. We can actually see on the tower. So now we're on board with Leo Hua, so he's released second. So there's the picture-in-picture from Sebastian Renat. Leo Hua is second in that particular championship. He's in the one of the Norma cars, the M20 FCs. So again, this kind of almost sort of Baby Le Mans-esque kind of chassis shape. Oh no! And Renat's hit the wall. Oh, it didn't hit the wall. He's hit something. Oh my goodness me! Paul Sidler has head-butted the barrier rather hard. Now, is he going to be caught? 4.2 kilometres was a fairly short circuit as he's coming up to the square chicane, so he's near the end of the lap at least. He might not be caught. I don't think he's going to be caught. I think he will just about get home before Juan gets home. Now, there is our first car on circuit. Just about to come home. Sebastian Renat, that's going to hurt. Oh, flames spitting out the back. I mean, again, we've had a fair amount of... The on-track action we've seen has been fairly dramatic. We've had several cars off, one into the trees, one into the wall, and that same one catching fire. Absolutely amazing stuff. So here's Leo Hua then in the Norma M20 FC to come over to set the top time, of course. As Renat, as good as he is, he's not likely to keep the top of the times in a burning car. There is Mark Best, the Canadian, third in that category, the E2 SCSS 3000 class. Oh, that's again getting very, very twitchy coming through that left-hander. Now, yes, there is a fair amount of downforce on this type of car as he comes over the line. Javi Rodriguez in the E30 Turbo, car number 195. Leads the E2 SH plus 3000 class. Oh, the nose getting lively there. Next one up the line, up the road. Looked like that was Beresdorf in his Lancer. Wow, that's the wonderful precision flying from the drone there to get a lovely aerial shot of the BMW of Rodriguez as he screams towards. Look how close he gets to the grass as well. There's Tobias Beresdorf in the Lancer, screaming, just so little space between the side of the car and the wall. He's still chucking it around. Of course, the Lancer is one of the favoured rally beasts of its era, and Tobias isn't afraid to chuck it around either, doing a fantastic job with the car getting very, very squiggly going through the left-hander as it starts to climb up the latter part of the lap. And again, looking at the clock now, coming into that square chicane, and you've got to be so careful on the entry. You can floor it a bit on the exit. Oh, the tail getting very lively. Four-wheel drive it might be, but still there's enough horses to upset the tail of the car. It's a bit of tyre smoke coming out of the car, coming through the last few turns, and over the line he comes. And of course, that is first in class for Beresdorf. Very nicely done in the Lancer. Who is next up the road? There's the 106. It is Vares in the next Lancer. Away he goes then. Now they do try and give some distance between the cars. Obviously, it's not always the same distance. So we now see Alvarez in the Escort, the first Escort to do the run. The Spaniard, and then climbing up, doing what he can to chase after the mighty Lancer of Rodriguez, or there's more than one Rodriguez. Oh, he even kicks up a bit of dust on the inside line through that long right-hander. That's brave. On board. Oh, and look how you thought Pedro was going to head towards the tree line there, but did manage to get that back under control and now screams over the crest. And it's over the crest, there's many crests in this. And again, you saw how the car's pitching around it. Oh, blimey, he's trying to use the ditch on the inside line to help rotate the car. It's brave. You can gain time by doing it, but if you catch that wrong, it's just going to catapult you onto two wheels and off into orbit pretty much. Through the square chicane and through the last couple of turns then for Alvarez as he is going to complete his lap. And to get the Escort onto the board for the first of his runs is essentially best of 3 runs for each driver. And that's second in class for Pedro in the Escort. Very nicely done. Who is going to be coming up next? I keep looking at the white and red car. I think there's a Corvette that's actually sat there. I think I might struggle a little bit up the hill climb here in Germany. David Desprez in the next Lancer. Oh, very Tommy Mackinnon flavoured Lancer there. That's a good-looking beast. If ever I saw one in the 221 car. That's the Belgian, currently in 6th in the E1 Plus 2000 class. Oh, that got lively. Now, there's not a lot of room to get that kind of sideways, but that no one seems to have told David that. He's doing a great job chucking that car around. Wonderful job keeping that car on the straight and narrow it very much is. Well, straight's the wrong word to use, as again, the car getting very unsettled coming over the dust and also the bumps as well. You saw with some of the onboards we've already had just how bumpy this circuit gets. But David, goodness me, David Desprez managing to keep that one pointing the right direction, gets through the square chicane, and again, wag at the tail on the exit, as we've seen a few times now. Catches a bit of dust on the inside line, no particular harm there, and then screaming up to the line to get his first time on the board. There's Alvarez again. Alvarez second in his class. Now that's a brightly coloured car, isn't it? It's, that's the 212. God! Oh, wow, just about keeps that one on the road. Which, as we've already said, is very narrow. There's not a lot of road to keep it on. So, very nicely controlled. Again, that's a very distinctive livery. And I'm going to Argarisi, I think that is pronounced. Again, getting a fair amount of sideways action going on in the BMW, but nicely handled though. We haven't we've seen that one major incident from Renat, but no other major crashes so far. Very, very nicely handled. And what time is he going to get on the board? He's a little way from home yet, so we won't necessarily see what he can get on the board just yet. Into the square chicane. Oh, he took that entrance really, really tight. That's going to compromise his speed through it. Although he got through it fairly well, but he definitely would have compromised his speed through that. And cut that very, very close to the wall. What can we get on the board? Let us see. 2-2 car. And over the line, the first run is complete for the number 212. That's Theos Argerau from Germany, I think that's pronounced. Next one on the field. Screaming down the monochrome Lancer, monochrome Escort, beg your pardon. Yeah, number 122. Again, this is the car control that you need for this kind of tight action is very, very impressive. There's the 67. We've got a lovely picture-in-picture now. And just look how they're bouncing. Even though they've got an amount of suspension travel, but on a road circuit, you make the car as stiff as you can to try and get keep the wheels on the ground as much as possible. But of course, that means the bumps just chuck you around everywhere. Very unforgiving in that sense. But these guys doing a great job of keeping the cars pointing in the direction that they should be. As they've returned back to... Oh, next one. That's we now got one of the single-seaters on the hill. Who is that? That's it's not Alvarez. Here's the single-seater that's climbing the hill now. That, I guess, it's going to be one of the Tartuses. It is. Well, that's two of them now on the field. That is Andres Roosevelt. That is the lead Tartus, number 8 car, leading the E2 SS2000 class. I'm assuming the other one is Chris Bennett. The blue one we're seeing in the picture-in-picture, number 9. As Roosevelt continues to climb, he's won both the rounds we've had in the series so far at Austria and Italy. looking to still stamp his authority on the hill climb. And a goal, wow, the bum's not favouring that single-seater at all. The nose really bouncing around on those single-seaters, which I'm not surprised at. Now, some people might question why on earth is a single-seater climbing the hill, and believe it or not, it's not as uncommon as you might think. It's not. Yeah, there's more kind of BMWs, Escorts, and Mercedes and the like, but single-seaters and small Le Mans chassis do indeed do hill climbs fairly regularly, and it's amazing to see. They do take a bit more of a specialist knowledge to maintain, I grant you, but they are absolutely fantastic when you see them doing these hill climbs. It is great to see, and we're seeing a great display from Roosevelt, bouncing over the curves at the square chicane and heading on down to the line. A couple of corners to go. Oh, and again the car just not wanting to turn. Goodness me, really struggling, but does manage to get that back under control and heading to the line. And another time is on the board. Very nicely done indeed. Who is next? No one on the line just yet, so sometimes you do get these sort of small lulls in proceedings. And who's on? It's Pollebauer. Andreas Pollebauer is now on track. That is the Group 8 special leader in the Opel Kadett, the 116 car. Now makes his first run. Very distinctive, lovely looking cyan blue Opel. Starting to scream its way up the hill there. It makes it look so easy, even getting the tail wagging through that long right-hander. Just, believe me, this is not an easy thing to do. That shouldn't deter anybody from giving it a try. This is your life. If you enjoy the kind of hill climbing type action, very tight and challenging rallying type driving, please do give it a try. I'm always a big advocate, a bigger lock up there from Pollebauer. Yeah, it's always something that I'm a very big advocate of for people giving it a go. But I mean, this is a very particular set of skills as the movie line goes. Through the chicane and heading to the Zeil curve for Pollebauer. And again, we've seen several cars just not wanting to turn in on that final left-hander before the final right. And even a bit of tyre smoke picking it up and over the line. Of course, class lead for Andreas Pollebauer, the Austrian, in the Opel Kadett. Who is coming up next? A Hauenstein flavoured car. Very nicely done. Who's next? Who's going to brave the hill now? Have to see. As at the moment, we can't see anybody looking to try it. Oh, is that Alvarez? Well, Alvarez is an Escort, and that looked like an Opel that just came past. That's definitely an Opel. That's the bright orange motor. That very much reminds me of... there was a Formula 1 team that had that kind of bright orange livery, and I've forgotten who they were. That's a Julian Galpassoro in the Group H Special. So again, one of the Opel Kadetts, and again the car getting quickly coming through the right-hander towards the beginning of the lap. I say lap, that's habit. Through the run, I should say. Left again. Into the trees. These things are mainly flat out, just a few dabs of the brakes just to get them to turn in. There's that long tightening right-hander before we get to the S-curve. And again, you just see the nose misbehaving as well, just where the rear tyres have gripped up slightly earlier than the front, and it just causes the nose to pitch slightly unevenly like that. That's the nature of hill climbing on roads, rather than kind of rallying on dirt or gravel or anything like that. Oh, and again, the car just locking up there, trying to brake over a bump, is catching a few people out on this run. Into the chicane. Nicely does it. No one's been caught out by that yet. Wow. There's a Galparsoto really cut that one tight, taking every available bit of grass he could, bouncing over the bumps, through the Zyle curve, through the right-hander, and over the line for his first time. Now where will he position in class? That is third. He's yet to beat anybody in class. Oh, there's the 85, John Spider. That is, let me try and find John Spider then. That is the Mercedes. There he is, fourth in the E2 SH Plus 2000 class. I do believe that's the sole Merc in the field. That's the Mercedes 190E with a Judd engine on board. Look at the huge rear wing on that one. Again, wonderfully stable drone camera piloting going on. Lovely blue Civic, the 118 car, coming to the line to start their run now. Who is that? I'm looking for the number. That is a name I will find shortly. Where are you? 118. That could be a new entrant because I cannot find their name in the list. But we get to say, we would have got to say, there's, oh no, that's another one that's, oh wow, that's very much impaled into the wall. That's Ryman Vieira. Oh, that's the end of his run. That's the number 17's car. That is very much dramatically come to an end. Oh dear, oh dear. And again, it's very easy to do. I mean, bearing in mind that we saw Renat do the same thing in the Acela right at the beginning of the runs, and yeah, he's championship leader. So it just goes to show how easy it is to make those little mistakes at the wrong time to throw the car into the wall. Away goes another competitor. Didn't see quite who that was that's just started their run. And look at the acceleration, even uphill. It's stunning for these cars. It's Philip Rapp. Oh, he's bounced off the tyres already. First turn, and he's gone too deep into the first turn and bounced off the wall. It's again another Opel Cadet of the field. That is, again, second place in the class, in the championship, I should say, behind Polabauer, his fellow countryman. And the bounce off the tyre barrier would not have done this one any favours whatsoever. He's pressing on nonetheless. Lots and lots of cars still to do their runs, as you can see. Oh, again, the car just misbehaving as the rears are gripping up slightly earlier than the fronts want to allow. Through the long right-hander for Rapp. Now on board, this is a great show. You can see just how hard the drivers have to work to keep these things on the road. And you've got to imagine that if the car starts to misbehave, you're of course going to turn into the slide. You've got no room. The car almost takes the entire width of these narrow roads. So you've got no time, or marginally little time, to do anything about any mistake. Now that barrier there is where we've seen several cars buried in already this evening. And Philip Rapp still pressing on as best he can. Now this is how the chicane looks. And look how narrow that is. You're almost chucking into a gap you can't see. Because of the nature of the tyre barriers, it's just really, really hard to spot the opening for that chicane. Through the Zyle curve and down towards the final right-hander for Philip Rapp to put his time on the board. But with that argument with the tyre barrier, I can't imagine that is going to be anything higher than fourth. Well, it's actually third. Oh, me of little faith. 3/10 higher than Gal Parsotto. Carl Shageri in the Escort. He's coming up to the chicane. Bit of a lock-up then for the 147 car. It does manage to keep that one out of the wall. And here again, no one wants to turn in really well. Oh, wow, he even had to get out of it, turn a bit too much. So a bit of oversteer that pitched the Escort towards the grass. But does manage to keep it on the straight and narrow over the line. And that is second in class for the Escort. That's Antonius Papanopoulos. Although I believe that was his car. It's coming with Carl Shagel. I thought Paparopoulos had the 147, but it could be that Carl's had to go in Antonius's car. Not impossible. I love the fact that the 210 was, you can see on the right hand side, that Corrado. It's almost a Warsteiner flavoured livery. Who would that look now? Juan Fuentes in the free. Oh no, that's not gone well for Louis Lacroix in the Fiat X19. Oh dear, the Frenchman, that's gone horribly wrong. Oh, that's a shame. It's near the beginning of the run. And there's a replay of it. And airborne as you tried to... Well, he hasn't tried to go too wide. It's just ended up oversteering into the ditch. And that's just completely mullered the car. And, yeah, that's the end of his run. Marcus Blasel now in his cadet as he starts to make his climb. That's that red, white and blue car that we saw in the holding area earlier on. Blasel's 8th in the championship, another Austrian. There he is in the 65, making his way up the field. Now, we haven't had anybody catch another car as yet. Oh, and again, the common theme is just the cars bouncing around like that, just not, really kind of biting into the tarmac. But that's generally because it's so bumpy. These bumps are just chucking the cars everywhere. But you don't want to allow lots of suspension travel to deal with the bumps because that compromises your corner handling efficiency in these cars. The right-hander, a bit cautious there for Blasel. You see the next car lining up in the picture-in-picture. Into the chicane then for the Austrian. And again, a bit cautious there, bouncing off the grass. The 136 car now lining up. Ready to start his run. And through the Zion curve. And then the right-hander for the Opel. And for the Opel, there's a lot of them. This is about half a dozen at least. And yeah, as we thought, that'll be 6th for Marcus at the moment. Straight back to the pits and ready to go. There's the 136. We saw it lining up. On the order overs. There it is. Screaming his way up the glorious track. Oh, to keep that one on the straight and narrow, which is far easier said than done. And that is 6th place that's now changed hands again. Nicely done. Now we have 17. That is, 117. 177. Pick a number. pick these numbers and rearrange in correct order. 177 now climbing the hill. Bringing his way up. Oh no! That's gone horribly wrong for the Honda and into one ditch and then skews across the road. And very deadly. You are not going to drive out of that. Well, he's trying to, in fairness. Let's see how that happened. He's gone over. He's come over the right-hand side and taken the next left-hander, but then the tails just got loose and pitched him into the ditch, and that's just slid over. Oh, he did manage to drive out of it. In fairness, he's going to complete the run. It is, like I said earlier, it is best of 3, so whilst that would be somewhat frustrating, he at least will get a time on the board. I think it's fair to say that there's improvement to be found in that one. Facing the wrong way in a hill climb is never the optimum way of doing things. On he goes nonetheless to finish the run. And over the line he comes. To park the Honda. And that was Atkin Vargas, the Spaniard, in the Honda Civic Type R. Another car coming down the road to start their run. The 195 sat next to the Honda we've just seen. Looks like one of the BMWs to me. 195. Who might that be? Not not certain, but you can just see going over the crest another car starting their run as another one then is on the line, and it is Madruel. It's in the E1 2000 class. Oh, wow, you really struggled to slow that one down. Either that or that was a very energetic turn into the chicane in the 143 class from Renault Clio. Now, that'll be front-wheel drive, and you know, he really sort of felt that he need to chuck that in, so he, was yanked on the handbrake, or as he braked, the car just pitched over to his left-hand side. But either way, second in class for Medriel. Truth, that looked like quite a handful for the 143. The 143 Clio. Oh dear, Rudy Ullman has got that one all wrong on the X19. And is introduced car to Tree, and Tree is going to win on that one. Oh dear, that's the end of that run. Oh, Nelson Incaro! Inacio, I beg your pardon, in the 306. So you keep it out of the wall initially, and then you reverse it hard backwards into the wall and lose your rear wing. That's an unusual way of venting your frustration. You've also left your rear wing behind. Littering is illegal in some countries. It's pressing on nonetheless, determined to finish the run. And the number 112, so Nelson Inacho, that is for the Peugeot 306. He was from Portugal. Currently sits bang in the middle, in 10th position in the E1 2000 class in category 1. And screwing up to... Now, the rear wing may not necessarily has been damaged. You can still see there's some shaping on the car, but he's certainly lost, more like his bumper, his last run in the top of the car. Oh, look, again, you can just see how hard the drivers have got to work as we watch Varela again. Another run for him, I believe. Again, it's impossible to appreciate just how narrow that entrance is for that chicane until you see it on board. With doesn't matter what you're in. I'd imagine the single seaters will probably feel even worse because they're that much lower to the ground. There's less in between the tyre and their face. It's over the line for Varela, and that's third. That is third in class. A lovely run there. There's the 86 car of Pohansel. That is Mikhail Pohansel, and that is now making his run. Fourth currently, the Frenchman scored 20 points thus far. And fourth again. Fourth seems to be his number. Fourth in class for Mikhail Pohansel in the Renault Clio. Who is next? Who is next? That's who's next. It's Oscar Pastor in the 105 car. And what can he get on the board? Having a smaller car doesn't necessarily help. That's the Sinker Rally 3 prototype. He scored a point last time out. Didn't see him in round 1 in Austria. What can he do this time around? One of few of the Group H specials now got times on the board. We'll start seeing the pecking order being formed. The right-hander that's caught a few people out already today. Into the chicane once again. Oh, wow, that's one way to do it. So Oscar going for the, trying to get the handbrake, locking up the rear wheels and throwing the nose in. I'm saying convince us the quickest way to do it, but then I'm not a hill climbing expert as far as driving them are concerned. So they know what they're doing far better than I do. That's why I go for the commentary box. It's a much more comfy seat when you're seeing these cars barreling towards trees at 150 kilometers an hour. Over the line for Oscar, and his time set. And see how that fares as the racing continues. That's one of the VWs then, one of the Corrados. Now, get that one slowed down, and wow, again, you want to talk about hard work. And that is exactly what's being done there to slow that one down. Very nicely done. Oh no, that's not how it's done. The number 48 car right by the line. Well, he's determined to cross the line, and fair play to you. Wow, that's going horribly wrong for the 48 car. That is Jürgen Dies in the BMW 2002. Oh, look at that. So whilst drifting might look spectacular, it's certainly not the quickest way of doing things, and bang into the ditch. Sent the car into a breakdance. Goodness. Next one to climb the hill. The number 28. Oh, Jennings quickly, but again, no, that's gone, and that's another one into the wall, sending tyres flying, and again determined to finish the run. What happened there? I kind of caught the end of it. As it chucks it into the left-hander, it just goes a bit too deep onto the grass, and no grip out there, and detaches part from car, and determined to complete the run nonetheless. Into the chicane. Well, the car's still behaving itself, in fairness, so whatever he detached, he clearly didn't need it. Into the Zara curve. Wow, the car is very much damaged, but determined to bring it home. And fair play to you for that. Oh, crikey, you almost lining up for another accident there, but did manage to keep the car out of harm's way. And over the line comes number 28. Off up the hill now. The martini flavoured number 88. That's Dennis Lopez from Portugal. It's fairly steady at the moment in the Alfa Romeo 75. I believe that's the sole Alfa Romeo in the championship at the moment. He's doing well to get the best out of that particular car. Capitalise where others have failed. Well, others have failed so far, I should say, not meaning to be disingenuous there, as I said earlier, it's a very particular set of skills, and I know I don't have it, to chuck these cars around at this kind of pace, around these very, very tight and twisty and bumpy roads. And Dennis Lopez continues on his merry way then. What can he get on the board? Oh, lock up there. A bit cautious through the right-hander. Still pressing on nonetheless. Into the chicane. Oh no, that's gone wrong. As you saw, the car pitched over to the left as he hit the brakes. He then just hit the grass and he's grounded it. Can he power through the ditch? Well, he's got a rock facing him. That's not going to go anywhere. That's. And yeah, well, I mean, there's determination, I'll give you that, but that's not going to work well for you. And he's returned back to the pits. That run is done, as we now have the single-seaters again. That's the number 81. That is Pedro Barbosa in the Dallara. Dallara F312 was third. First time out in Austria in class, but didn't fail to score any points last time out in Italy. Hoping for a stronger result this time around, of course. As they scream on up the hill, what can he do? Oh, and that's in the wall! That's another victim at that particular point. He just shrugs it off and tries to continue. Oh no, don't leave it there. He's slightly moved, but he's now parked it at the worst possible place he could have done, and has returned the car to the pits. Oh, that could have got nasty. Oh no, another one's that followed him exactly in the same place. He didn't hit the wall. I think he actually managed to hit that gap perfectly well to not hit anything. That was, I'll talk about threading the eye of the needle. That was absolutely brilliant driving in the 131 car. Into the chicane. Oh, again, still determined to shake it around despite the fact that he's nearly met a tree. That is Victor Cabello in the Fiat 131. Oh, wow. You see the amount of times he's having to turn into every corner. I'm not sure if there's any damage on that particular car. It could have been involved in a bit of a knock earlier on, or maybe it did pick up a bit of damage in that instant. We couldn't really see. That's car number 180. Now starting to do its rounds. That's Pedro Rebelo in the Clio. Another one of the Portuguese contingent. There's number 146, another one of the Martini delivered cars. Oh, again, not handling the bumps at all, and that's in the wall. Oh, that's gone horribly, horribly wrong in the tail end of the lap. Oh dear, oh dear. But he's going to bring it home. Whether he wants to come home or not, he is dragging that car home. And the 146 car is now over the line. Somewhat wounded, I think it's fair to say. There's Ruben Quillis again in the Fiat. There's the 180 car crossing the line. We can lead another lap. Ah, one of the escorts. Out it comes. It's the number 42 car. That was Demo Salonika. Well, that's one of the newer escorts. It's now a bit of a forward parade. Oh, well caught there in the 190 car. That could have gotten rather nasty. That's Flo Mulot. There's the classic one, the 42, the Mark 1. Damos Salonika from Greece. Yeah, I make no apology for being an absolute sucker for the classic escorts. And again, it was the tail. This time they wanted to let go, but he caught that one quite nicely. Powers towards the line. And that's a time on the board for the Greek driver. As we look slightly further down the hill, that's the other escort. And then right at the top of the shot, you saw another car actually closing in. That's Flo Mulot in the Frenchman in the Rallycross, the WRC Spec Escort. Nearly goes down that same trap that we've seen several people go down already. Does manage to keep the car out of danger. Here's chicane. Nicely done. Again, the car is very much misbehaving, does not want to stay straight. So it's struggling somewhat to have that pointing in the right direction. He's pressing on anyway. What can he do this time? And over the line he came. Who will be next? Will it be Louis Lacroix? Who have we got this time? Oh dear, that's a replay of Badeco Alvarez going skywards in the 208 Cadet. Oh, that would have been painful, I think it's fair to say. And the car almost miraculously defying physics and rolling back onto its wheel itself. It was again. But not going well for the 208, I think it's fair to say. Who's going to brave the hill next? Ah, that's the end of the first round. So, Struth, that was very action-packed and not everybody surviving particularly well, I think it's fair to say. The end of the first run is done. So we'll see who is going to brave it out for round two. Now, a moment to rest, reset, and reflect. Who is coming up first? Well, no movement as yet. Again, you just get a wonderful idea of just how many people are involved and the wonderful array of cars that we've got. Oh, the pace car wants to be first out again. He's determined, isn't he, to take it up the hill. Give it a go. He's determined to give it a go, isn't he? Maybe he's seen how some of the cars have fared and doesn't want to damage the beautiful Sierra. I wouldn't blame him either. Who's going to be first? We didn't see the pink Honda come up, did we? Or if we did, I completely missed it. Now, we won't be able to see every single run, but it's just because of how quickly each car comes out, and obviously the amount of coverage that we try to provide. We won't necessarily see every single car. Some of them will slip through the net. And as good a driver as they are, I'm not sorry to see this bright pink Civic flying past me. So we'll get the second run underway as quickly as we can. And that'll be, as we say, the best of the 3 runs available. If they do 3 runs, of course. It's certainly an average of the 2 best runs. Is how it's calculated on who finishes where. No movement as yet. Who's going to break the silence? No one as yet. Other than Sergio. Oh, there we go. That's Sebastian Renat, isn't it? Yep. He finished 4th following his interesting excursion. And away he goes, the number 14. The leader of the E2 SCSS 3000 class. Such a glorious car. That Arcella looks fabulous. Arcella was not particularly popular in Formula 1, or not particularly successful, I should say, in Formula 1, but wow, they made a fantastic looking car here. Up the hill he comes. Now, is he going to fall foul of the same mistake he made last time? It's not here. It went wrong for him. It's there. And he got it right this time. Riding on board, look at that. You can just see how the car is just bouncing around. But when so we're on board with the second runner of the class, Leo Huart. And again, these cars are magnificent, but wow, do they need a lot of wrestling to just get them where they need to be. There's Sebastian again. Up to the chicane now. He didn't make it this far on the first run. Tiny lock up then. Just coming through that section. And oh wow, again because those bumps are there, it's almost the wrong time for these cars. It just kind of makes them very snappy. Over the line, and that's the first time on the board for the Frenchman. There's Leo Huart. Up the hill. And again, it's so hard to see the entrance. Again, because of the tyre barriers being black and white, it's really hard. You're turning into an entrance you just can't see. And they're doing a brilliant job of it nonetheless. To the right-hander, and these guys absolutely flat. Over the line, does Leo get the top spot? Nope, that still belongs to Renat. There is Mark Best, the Canadian. And Norma M20 FC. Oh, and a bit of a scruffy exit from that chicane. Easy for me to say, I grant you. And again, you're just seeing the car bouncing through the corner, as we've said, on every run so far. But particularly these kind of, these Le Mans type, base chassis or the single seaters will really struggle. And they've got no suspension travel, but sits in third nonetheless. Up then comes the 195 car. And so Javi Rodriguez in the BMW. As mentioned, leading the E2SH Plus 2000 category. Forward again, the BMW just misbehaving a little bit. And into the chicane. Keeps it nice and steady. Into the left-hander. Oh, keep it on the road, which he does. Right-hander. And it's over the line. Wonderful. Great run there for the class leader of Javi Rodriguez. Such a gorgeous car, that. It's Beiersdorf. Oh, wow, that's a replay actually of Tobias Beiersdorf getting it all wrong. And that's very much a dramatic end to his second run. Onwards for the escort. What can Meds do here? That's where it's gone wrong for so many runs so far. What can he do? And there's the next one. That's the number 32 escort. That's Pedro Vares, Spaniard, doing his second run now. Third in the championship. Looking to certainly he would certainly like to capitalise on Beiersdorf's mistake in the Lancer. And kicks up some dust on his way past. Oh, wow, from that angle that looked a lot of sliding, but give me the camera angle being a bit deceptive. Pressing on nonetheless. And wow, took a very tight line there, so almost cautious coming through there. Now you can understand why people want to take a wide line, because you do have that straight section leading up to the chicane. And because the course is quite short, you don't want to lose any time anyway. You never want to lose any time anyway, but the shorter the course, the more detrimental any time loss is. Or the harder it is to re-find again, I should say. But pressing on goes the Spaniard, and over the line. And the escort, very nicely done indeed. Up comes the next car. What can the 231 do? Valdis Karellis, the Greek driver, second in class. Well, second in the championship, I should say. Behind Javi Rodriguez. BMW is ruling the roost at the moment. Oh dear, the black and yellow, the bumblebee coloured BMW just misbehaving everywhere. You see almost digital steering input going on to get the car to behave itself. Into lock up there. That's never what you want to see. That's been the dangerous right-hander all night long. Into the chicane. Looked a little reluctant to turn in, but it goes through nonetheless. But again, I'm not surprised, it's so blind turning into that chicane. Here he comes through the penultimate turn and into the right-hander. His second time, gives it a wiggle on the exit, why not? Bit of showmanship. Right overhead. Again, does that not highlight just how narrow this circuit is? I mean, whilst that's fairly common in hill climbing terms, those are maybe a bit unfamiliar with the difficulties of hill climbing, or the challenges, I should say, of hill climb racing. This really highlights it, and again, this is why you're seeing lots of dust being kicked up, and the tiny mistakes, like so. And, slamming the drone into the ground because it's doing its best to stay perfectly above the car. And that just goes to show how a tiny mistake just completely detonates the run and leaves your car in pieces. This is what it looked like from the external shot. And, yep, same place again. Oh, two wheels. That's why the drone camera just bounced into the ground, because the roof of the car decided to meet the barrier. And that's where that run ended. Oh dear, oh dear. Who is next? Who is next? That's the black and white escort, I think, that's now taken to the hill. On board. And again, you can really get an idea. That's Jose Alvarez, so we're now riding with the number 67 escort. It did rather quite well in Italy, doing 10 points last time out, so 4th position in class. Again, you just get an idea of how hard these guys have got to work every single time they take to the circuit. And it's not just this hill climb circuit that's this narrow. It's pretty common. And the tail's gone. He's kept it out of the trees. A wonderful car control to recover that. Jose Alvarez, really, the Spaniard doing very, very well to keep that one out of the wildlife. Very nicely done indeed. Into the chicane. I mean, it's always worth just completing the run because you don't know what troubles everyone else is going to meet. And with the difficulties that have been experienced so far by a number of drivers, and some of them, like Beiersdorf, prime example, at the top of this particular category, you stand to gain quite well in the championship as a result. And that's the end of his run. Jose Alvarez. And now it comes to a stop, and we'll cut to the next car. Who is next coming up the hill? It does occasionally happen when there's no one coming up the hill, which is sometimes why there's a little bit of a delay in catching the next car. That's the number 122 Escort. Screaming up the hill. That's a oh, they stopped. Not sure what happened there. There's Josu Barroso, the Spaniard. I'm not sure why he came to a stop there. It was a bit unusual. Here goes Andre. That is car number 66. That's the Swiss driver in the Dallara F312. Now, these cars really do struggle with bumpy conditions. I mean, they've got they have about as much suspension travel as you could. As barely anything. I was trying to think of a clever and witty analogy there, and I'm not clever enough to do so. So there we go. They have as much suspension travel as I do IQ. So that gives you an idea. Oh no, that's gone wrong. That's gone wrong. He saved it. What a save. Oh, just as I commentated cursed it, just as he caught that one, he couldn't quite get that turned in for the right-hander and into the wall for Agios Andre. Oh no, that's another car gone off. Oh no, that's the replay of Andre's car going horribly wrong, as we've just seen. Another one of the single-seaters coming up the hill then. That's Roosevelt, that's the Tartus. One of the Tartus is the lead one, car number 8. Now coming up the hill, a jet black car beginning its climb. Hungarian, showing the world how it's done. These highly, highly challenging single-seaters to drive. There's part of the reason why there's not very many in that particular class is that is a challenging beast. As we've seen several times, the single-seaters coming a bit of a crop as they oh, there it is. There's that Audi, the number 32. Absolutely stunning machine it is as well. And again, I make no apologies for that at all, as unfortunately the drone camera upsets a number of nesting birds and squirrels as it flies through the trees. Slightly unfortunate there. There we go. The drone now repositioned just to follow this gorgeous car through its trajectory. Now, is the drone going to meet another tree? No, the drone manages to avoid it this time. And this is the part that's caught a number of drivers out. And the Audi bounces over the bumps rather nicely. Oh, that's very cautious coming through the chicane there. Again, don't blame him. I'd want to keep that Audi in perfectly good shape. Oh no, the bumps just catapulted the car towards the barrier. But he's going to finish it nonetheless. Home comes the Audi. That's the number 82 car. Completing the run. Nicely done indeed. Next one. Number 44. Now it's the Zage, that's Mitko Ristov. One of the Opel cadets. One of the top 4. Well, in 4th position. in the class, the Group 8 Specials. Oh, Lockett there coming into that deadly right-hander. It does manage to keep it out of the ball. As I said earlier, 4 seems to be Nico's number. He's got 2 of them on the side of his car. And he's been 4th twice so far in the Championship Series. What can he do this time? With the penultimate turn, keeps it on the black stuff. And through the right-hander, what does he do this time? Is it 4th? No, it's not. So will he break the curse of 4s this time? And yes, I thought the production crew were looking forward to showing me this one. And there it is. Now, I of course mean no disrespect to the driver. It's absolutely amazing to see the talent of everybody taking part, even those that have had slightly less success. But I've got to say that livery is, well, let's just call it bright and leave it alone at that. Climbing the hill then in the Civic. What can they get on the board? It's going to be the golden question, is it? Is Jürgen Strassiger from Austria. It's 3rd in the championship at the moment. Oh, it barely fits from that camera angle. It barely fits to the entrance of that chicane. It's not like the Civic's a big car. It's a very, very narrow opening into that chicane. Very tight indeed. But Jürgen wanted to try and improve on his championship position. Completes the run. Here's the 106 car. Good looking piece it was. There's the almost Warsteiner-esque coloured car. Number 210. That's Oliver Toth in the Corrado. One of the few VWs in the field. Was 4. Well, no, there's about 6 of them in the championship. There's a couple of them we haven't seen. That looked a little close to the wall there for the class champion, or class leader, I beg your pardon. He won in the opening round and was 2nd last time. Always, he's joint for the lead, I should say, with Axton Vargas. So it's VW versus Honda, Corrado versus Civic. What can you get on the board this time? Over the line. And that's another run done, and that's the top spot at the moment for Oliver Toth. Nicely done indeed. Now comes the 145. It's Philip Raab. And now hits the hill. 2nd in the Group 8 Specials. And one of the ever popular Opel Cadets. Now the drone going for the left-hand side. Trying to keep out of the trees. He's already aggravated the birds and squirrels on one side. That was a bit of too much bumping around then for the Opel, but Philip Raab does manage to keep it very nicely saved. Through the treacherous right-hander. A number of runs have come to an end, and I doubt it's going to be the last ones that we've seen that have stopped there. Into the long left, breaming towards the latter half of the lap now. I still call it laps. I'm still using the wrong phrase. Apologies there. At the end of the run. There's that deadly left-hander. We head towards the chicane. It would look more open than it actually is from that particular camera angle. A bit of a locker then. Philip Raab just keeping that one out of the tyres. And keeping the car on the straight and narrow. Very nicely done, but it's gone. Oh no, and over. Well, if you're going to end it, do it properly, I suppose. And that's a fantastic flip, and he's now beached it in the ditch. Oh no. Just to make your day even worse, he's beached it in the ditch. That's a great shame. The 282 now on the field. That is Louis Lacroix in the Fiat. Oh, it went badly for him in the first run and almost ended there. But the Frenchman keeps it going. 7th in class at the moment in the championship in the Group H's. It is the most popular class in this event. And keeps it going nicely. Stays out of the well, it's essentially a death trap. But you can just see the car skidding around, trying its best to misbehave. But Louis LaCroix keeping that one very nicely under control. And into the right-hander. There's two corners that have that kind of that tire wall there. It's that second one that's brought a number of people out so far. Nicely done. That was a lovely line through the chicane there for the 282 car into the Zal curve. Again, keeps it nice and steady and just flies through the final turn and over the line. Good effort. Very nicely done indeed for Louis LaCroix. Next up, almost stars and stripes that from that livery at that angle. That's number 65. That's Markus Blasel, the Austrian, in the Opel Kadett. Scored 6 points first time out, but sadly didn't score any points in Italy. Looks like he survived this run though. To the line for the Opel. And it's a good sign there. Now the 136 car. Taking it to the hill. That's the chicane as well. Oh, again, it looks tight because it is. It's very, very little room for manoeuvre, as we mentioned. Newcomer to the series, and over the line to complete the run. Very nicely done indeed. Who is next? I thought they put the hazard light on then, but no, that's just the gutter of the brake lights. Who's next? Another one of the Corrados. That's the monster flavoured one that we saw at the top of the show. Bouncing through. Get the grip where you can. Screaming towards the line. I'm going to get on the boards. Nicely done. Very nicely done indeed. Oh, that looks shaky for the 191. That's Owen Rudy. And it went horribly wrong in the first run. And again, that camera angle there is deceptive because it does look like they're about to pin it again. But pressing on. Ooh, again, misbehaving a little bit, kicking a bit of dust coming into it. Oh, this really struggling is the German, trying to get that car through that right-hander out of the chicane. Opened up just the last minute there. Could have done with being further over to the left before turning into the chicane. Easy for me to say, granting. That car's just bouncing over the bumps very, very hard indeed. Towards the line. That's another time on the board for the Group H's. Good effort. Who is next? It's the 143. The Renault Clio. And looks like he successfully navigated the ramp so far, but again, just not wanting to turn in, trying his best to misbehave. And screaming on to the line. Nicely done. Now number 77 takes to the hill. And on goes the mighty Escort. graceful as ever. It's wonderful to see these old cars. I bet that's not Let's go. There's an Opel. Beg your pardon. It's great to see these cars in action. Again, I know I've mentioned how much of a sucker I am for some of these cars, and I make no apologies for it. As Nikolaus F. Again, apologies if I'm getting that name completely wrong. Continues to press on. It's almost Ford-esque, that livery. It's absolutely stunning, actually. Chicane. Yes, nicely done. Very nicely done. Looks like the suspension's a bit softer in this car. Not being chucked around quite as much as some of the others we've seen. It's a very, very hard balance to strike, though, to get, a nice soft suspension to deal with the bumps, but also, hard enough to keep the cars under control. Is that the end of the session? Not quite. Number 215 hits the hill. No, hits the hill rather literally. That's a replay then of it going horribly wrong for the Peugeot, for the Punto, beg your pardon. Oh, he got back on the road again. Probably slightly reshapen is the 215. Ah, no, we hit trouble again. We may have hit a bit of server trouble again, unfortunately. But we can have some highlights on what we've seen thus far. That was a lovely run from Desprez. Oh, look how he caught the ditch on the inside line to help rotate the car. Lovely effort there. That was a lovely run. And it was until that point. Look how he caught it. Lovely effort there. Ooh. Using every available pixel that he could. Gorgeous run. Absolutely stunning run. And a tail wag when he came out of the chicane there. So again, what a fabulous night of hill climbing we've had. That was a run that didn't go so well. That was the first run for Vieira. Very much impaling his car into the barrier. Maybe he was trying to take a souvenir home with him. Who do we see next on the highlight reel? Yeah, there's Philip Rapp. That again was his first run. That was where he hit the tyre wall on first run and first corner as well. Oh, that is incredibly close. But the class leader doing a great job there of keeping the car under control. There was Louis Lacroix, who's had a rather mixed night in the Fiat. Number 282 car. This is where his rather very dramatic exit from his first run. It looked spectacular, but it didn't do him any favors. That was Vargas in the Civic, the 177 car. And that's where it went wrong for him. Remember, he buried it in there. Now, I said he wouldn't get it out of there, and he went and defied me. It was Rudy Ullman, not wanting to be outdone, and decided to roll his car over and then bury it into the tree. There he goes. It was impressive, I'll give him that. There was Nelson Inacho. That was where he then... it was his bumper. I thought it was his spoiler he actually knocked off the car. And no, he managed to keep it out of the wall, and then just out of frustration just reversed it a bit too hard and smashed into the barrier. But finished the run nonetheless, in fairness, and as we just saw from some of the other cars, not everybody did. There's a Pablo Suarez in his Corrado. Gorgeous looking beast that is. Oh, lively it was too. There's David Pariso in the number 28 Peugeot. Going sideways and then losing various bits of scenery. Well, bits of car, as you can see. Slightly bit of weight saving, but not in the ideal way. There's it. Whilst we're waiting for the server to return to us, let's have a few words from our sponsor, shall we?
The 2022 International HillClimb Cup, virtual Hauenstein Bergrennen, is presented in partnership with Viper Gaming by Patriot, A-Stick Sim Sport, ESTV, and Motorvision.tv.
A 1v2 for the tournament. Pressure is on.
Racing for Green is here to help you carbon neutralize your racing. By planting new trees, Racing for Green offers to make your racing carbon neutral. We already have the calculations, contacts, infrastructure, deals and solutions ready for you to easily buy carbon neutral laps on any racetrack. It doesn't matter if you are a racing fan, team owner, driver, sponsor or partner. Anyone can buy CO2 neutral laps in the Racing for Green webshop and trade CO2 emissions for New Forest. Racing for Green.
Welcome back, everybody, to this hill climbing event. This is round 3 of the season. And we're just waiting for confirmation whether we're going to get a third run for the night or whether we have seen the hill climbing action for the night. So let's continue with our highlight reel of what has been some interesting moments from both the runs we've seen so far. As Rizzy David Desprez in the 221, just get how on earth he kept that out of the wall, I will never know. It was stunning with the car control. It kept his Lancer out of the wall. And then took a really tight line into the chicane, but the four-wheel drive beast that is the Lancer just ate up every corner that was thrown at it and even created some of his own just wriggling down the straights. Absolutely amazing stuff. That's one of the Civics that, yeah, that was Vieira. That his first run coming to a very dramatic end. There was the Barsteiner flavoured car that took off from the line there. Again, just highlights how quickly these things accelerate. That's, yeah, Philip Raab's Opel. And we saw that one bounce off the wall. And again, as a reminder, this is how hard these guys have to work. Now, this is the end of the lap. Through that really, really narrow chicane. Just those bumps just want to send the car absolute skywards. Oh, poor Louis Lacroix and his Fiat X19. What started off as quite a spectacular run ended in a very spectacular way, but not in the way that he would have liked. Finding some space in between the car and the ground is never ideal. There was Acton Vargas in his Civic. Oh, yep, that's where it went wrong. It's the tail end letting go, put him into one ditch, and then sent him flying over to the other. We are running again, so we're on the third run now. There's Pohansel in the number 86 Clio. So now, third and final run of the night. I wonder, well, now this is going to be interesting to see whether lessons have been learned, which sounds like a very derogatory statement, but you know, they've had 2 runs in competition trim, and God knows how many times they've practiced this, how many kilometers they've done on this circuit. But you know, it's when you've done several runs, at this point fatigue's going to be kicking in. So you know, these guys are. This is going to be a real test of endurance for these drivers. Whilst not an endurance race, obviously, it's still, you've got this real burst. Oh, that's very close to the wall, but Pohansel does manage to keep that one out. You've just got this really intense burst of concentration and energy going on whilst wrestling these cars up the hill, and then you've got to wait for the next one, so you kind of lose all the adrenaline, and it builds again, lose it again, and on it goes. Of course, so there's Oscar Pastor in the 105 car now beginning to climb. That's the Simca Rally prototype, or one of them, I should say. There's a couple of them. As the Spaniard continues to climb, of course, looking to learn from the lessons of the last 2 runs, as mentioned. Right-hander, the tightening right-hander there, has managed to keep it out of the ball. Nicely done. Into the chicane. Lovely line, really, really nice line there. Screams down to the Zeil curve. What can he get on the board for the third and final time? As mentioned, it's the best 2 times that are taken, and then it's an average from those 2 times that decide their final finishing positions. So we won't necessarily kind of see the finishing order by the end of the night. The next car now does the climb, the number 35. Oh, keep it nice out of the wall. I mean, how many times have I winced? How many times have I said that in the night? I grant you that. It's a very broken record. That's Matteo Golantz from France in the Fiat. There's a few Fiat Puntos out there. There's about 3 of them indeed in the field. It's being a bit cautious into that right-hander, but you can't blame him because of how many people it's claimed. Again then. Oh, the car misbehaving as it locks up. And again, that's forcing into a cautionary line there. But I mean, yeah, if that's what's going to give you the best run, then that's what you do. Oh, wow, no, that's the ball. Using the barrier to try and turn your car is not the ideal way of doing it. But it presses on nonetheless. And over the line. big lockup after you finish is, well, it's neither here nor there really. It doesn't really matter. You don't need those tyres again. And back to the holding area. Who is next? That's the 215 car. And it's Adrian Varela in the next Punto. What can the Spaniard do? Oh, kicks up a bit of dust. You don't want to be hitting the grass really anywhere. You just need the car to be stable. It's easy for me to say, I grant you, but... And he presses on. Keeps it nice and steady. Screams on down to the trees. Oh, wow, really pressing on now. Where can you go from here? This is looking like a fairly strong run. Oh, he turned in a tad too early there. He had to kind of pull out of that. Pressing on anyway. Oh, that got a bit nasty. Very, very nasty indeed. He's pushing on though. And that's over the line again. Now is one of the Tartus cars getting ready to go. I beg your pardon, that was one of the Dilaras. That was the 81 car. That was Pedro Barbosa from Portugal. Getting ready to do the deed. And away he goes. You're going to struggle to beat the acceleration of these things. They are absolutely incredible. They do feel very clumsy at slow speeds there. That's the only trouble with those single-seaters. Oh, not wanting to touch the grass, but getting through it nonetheless. Oh, again, getting a bit uncomfortable. That keeps it good anyway. Left-hander again, now heading towards the tree line. That nose just bouncing around. The car just wanting to misbehave, but that being kept very nicely under control by Barbosa. Nicely done. Into the left. Now into the deadly right-hander, as is being nicknamed. Through it comes, there it is, and keeps out of the trap that's seen many a car body part deposited in it this evening. Chicane. Again, a little cautious, but still nice and steady through there. Now these are the bumps that have been chucking these single-seaters around and almost getting airborne again. But the Portuguese driver managing to keep that one under control and over the line. Good effort, sir. Who's next? It's the Martini flavoured number 88. Absolutely gorgeous machine that is too. It's a Dennis Lopez from Portugal. He's up towards the end of the lap. Oh wow, he scrubbed off a fair amount of pace there. He went a bit too deep in the middle part of that chicane, which compromised his exit a little. And he goes nonetheless, and again the car just bouncing around. Not behaving itself really. And he's done well to get that one home. And over the line for the Alfa Romeo. Next up the hill. Oh, it's everywhere. Using every pixel of the road and more. It's the 131 coming home. Victor Cabello in the Fiat 131. Spaniard wrestles the car and over the line he comes. Who's next to tackle the slopes? It is the 180. That is Pedro Ribello and the Clio. Oh wow, that looked a little deep from that angle, but he actually managed to maintain a decent pace through there. These little front-wheel drive cars don't like braking and turning at the same time, as that shot there will be testament to. It keeps it very nicely done. Portuguese driver's going to bring that one home. And that's the third run for Pedro Ribello. Good effort. And returns back rather nicely to the holding area. Who's on the hill? Who is next to tackle the German roads? It's Flo Mulot, the 190 Escorts. The Frenchman screaming that glorious car over the line, was kind of catching them at the end of their laps. They're being released in quite short succession. Lovely finish. Very nice. It's one of the Corrados now. It's Suarez. Pablo Suarez now. And the VW Corrado. Coming to the chicane. Car looks like it's in the right shape, so it hasn't had an argument with anything solid. And the 167. What's the Spanish driver able to do here? Bouncing over. Yeah, rid the bumps actually quite well there. Running a bit softer suspension than some of his competitors. Couple of points in the championship. What's that's going to put him into 9th. Very nicely done. Alvarez. What is he going to achieve here? Now we're coming to the end of the lap. 208 car. And 13th position there. Unlucky for some, but we'll see how that transpires before the end of the night. Most people have probably done their third laps by now. Third laps, still saying laps, look. Third runs by now. That could be. Is that the end of the session, I wonder? I'm gonna wait for confirmation of that, because that looks like everybody's back in their tents again. So just going to wait for confirmation, but that could be the end of the session. See the yellow helmet moving around in the Fiat there, roughly in the middle of the zone. It's almost like he's kind of doing the lap in his head and just moving around like sim racing drivers do. No one is on circuit, so we think that is going to be it for tonight's HillClimb. There we go. There's the car's disappearing. Confirms. Okay, so that was... Oh, right, okay. So just that confirmation, that was the end of round 2, because bearing in mind that we did lose the server part of the way through the second round. So now is the beginning of the third and final run. So I beg your pardon, I've had that wrong leading up to this point. So now is the beginning of the third run. My mistake. I do apologize for that. So we should be seeing... Yep, there he is, Sebastian Renat, coming out for his third and final run any moment now. Is he going to come out? So it'll be the best 2 laps from the evening that they see. So before we get them underway, the safety cars now come out again. Look. I tell you what, that Seal is determined to go to the hill, I'm sure of it. Let's have a quick commercial break at this point.
The 2022 International HillClimb Cup Virtual Hauenstein Bergrennen is presented in partnership with Viper Gaming by Patriot, A-Stick Sim Sport, ESTV, and Motorvision.tv.
Racing for Green is here to help you carbon neutralize your racing. By planting new trees, Racing for Green offers to make your racing carbon neutral. We already have the calculations, contacts, infrastructure, deals and solutions ready for you to easily buy carbon neutral laps on any racetrack. It doesn't matter if you are a racing fan, team owner, driver, sponsor or partner. Anyone can buy CO2 neutral laps in the Racing for Green webshop and trade CO2 emissions for new forest. Racing for Green.
A 1v2 for the tournament. Pressure is on.
2022 International HillClimb Cup, virtual Hauenstein Bergrennen, is presented in partnership with Viper Gaming by Patriot, A-Stick Sim Sport, ESTV, and Motorvision.tv.
Racing for Green is here to help you carbon neutralize your racing. By planting new trees, Racing for Green offers to make your racing carbon neutral. We already have the calculations, contacts, infrastructure, deals and solutions ready for you to easily buy carbon neutral laps on any racetrack. It doesn't matter if you are a racing fan, team owner, driver, sponsor or partner. Anyone can buy CO2 neutral laps in the Racing for Green webshop and trade CO2 emissions for New Forest. Racing for Green.
A 1v2 for the tournament. Pressure is on.
Bye.